I once thought that sending her to prison would make her regret everything for the rest of her life. I thought that was the punishment she deserved. But standing there now, looking at Tang Shi, a question I couldn't escape slowly surfaced in my mind. Who had abused her during those years in prison? Who had stripped away her pride, piece by piece, until nothing seemed left? As Boye watched her, an unfamiliar fear quietly rose in his chest. He suddenly realized that he could no longer understand the woman standing before him. They had been married for 5 years, yet now she felt like a complete stranger. When she finally spoke, her voice was calm and distant, asking him to leave. It hurt more than any accusation ever could. What exactly had happened to her in those 5 years? This was clearly the outcome he had wanted to see, yet for some reason it didn't bring him satisfaction. Instead, unease crept in. Beneath Tang Shi's composed exterior, all those restless emotions seemed to surge forward at once, as if the dark, lightless days of the past were clawing at her, trying to drag her back in. Later that night, as my son handed me a glass of milk and softly asked if I wanted some, I smiled and nodded, pretending everything was fine. After that chaotic night, I truly believed I would never be entangled with Boye again. But fate has never been kind to me. The very next afternoon, something completely unexpected happened. My brother called in a panic, telling me that the kindergarten principal said someone had forcibly taken Yihan away. When he checked the surveillance footage, the person was Boye. I steadied my voice and told my brother not to worry, that I would handle it, reassuring him even as my hands trembled. In my heart, however, something snapped. Boye had taken away my last bit of faith. From that moment on, I knew I would risk everything to fight him. That night, at the Bo family mansion, my son stood his ground. When Bo Yi's mother questioned him about his parents, the child calmly replied that who his mother was didn't matter to her, and who his father was naturally didn't matter to him either. Startled by his answer, she pressed on, asking how his mother was doing. My son answered in a tone that was innocent, yet painfully sharp, saying that in prison everyone eats state rice. So his mom lived without worrying about food or clothing. Boye frowned, asking who had taught him to speak with such thorns, whether it was Tang Shi. My son didn't back down. He said everyone around him talked that way, and even Boye himself had mentioned it in front of his mother just the day before. When accused of coming here to cause trouble, the child simply said that if Boye didn't like it, he could send him back. He made it clear that using him to threaten his mother would only make them hate Boye even more. That was when Boye finally realized it. Tang Shi really did hate him, and even her son had been taught to hate him too. This wasn't how things were supposed to turn out. Frustration took over and he smashed the wall, but Yihan only called it childish behavior. Eventually, Boye went upstairs, telling his mother to take care of the child. Later, his grandmother gently asked my son if he had been scared, then asked his name, and he answered proudly that his name was Tang Yihan, explaining that the character Yi had a heart radical and meant only and hope, just as his mother had told him. When praised, he replied coldly that even flattery wouldn't make him get close to them. All he wanted was his mom. He said she would definitely come to find him. She realizes that he really hates them. In the morning, I arrived at Bo Yi's office. When I arrived, people whispered behind my back. Some wondered who I was looking for. When I said Boye's name, they told me I needed an appointment. Others speculated in hushed voices, saying I must have powerful backing, maybe even that I was Boye's secret lover. They laughed, wondering how that could be when everyone knew his heart had always belonged to Anan. Hearing that, I finally understood how foolish I had been back then, believing that marriage alone could make him love me. I told them to give Boye my name. I'm confident that he would see me immediately. Along the way, I ran into Tang Shi, one of Boye's friends. He casually offered to take me upstairs, saying there was no need to thank him. After all, the Tang family owned shares in the company once. I thanked him in return, then quietly remarked that he had once investigated me thoroughly, but in the end, I had never been his. He hesitated before asking if it was really Boye who had sent me to prison 5 years ago. By the time I stepped into the office, he could feel it clearly. Tang Shi was no longer the naive girl she once was. When Boye saw me, his first question was why I was there. I answered plainly that I had come to take back my son. He said the child was his too. I looked him straight in the eye and told him no, the child was mine alone. I questioned him calmly, asking whether he truly intended to acknowledge this child now. After all, wasn't he the same man who had once hated me to death? The room fell silent, and in that silence, everything that had been buried for 5 years began to resurface.